The United States thinks more than half the country is garbage. A drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. The same rules evidently apply to senility. Two hilarious things about this comment. One, Biden was speaking in response to Tony Hinchcliffe's joke from Sunday at Madison Square Garden, which leftists feverishly tried to tether to Donald Trump in any way that they can. That joke was Kamala's only shot at turning the tide here, meaning with this comment from last night, Joe Biden has once again blown it for Kamala Harris. That's funny. And the second thing is recent polling now shows Trump is leading Kamala Harris among Hispanic Americans. So Joe Biden just called the bulk of an American minority group in this country garbage. And there's not a lot of outrage over that. In fact, suddenly, the same people who lost their minds when a notoriously offensive roast comedian said something offensive at a Trump rally, those same people are now minimalizing the president calling half the country garbage. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Listen to how Good Morning America started today. Just hours after Biden's garbage comment last night, but a full 3 days after Tony Hinchcliffe. This is how they sound.
Donald Trump on damage control after a comedian at his Madison Square Garden rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Now why Republicans are trying to seize on something President Biden said.
But Republicans seizing on the president's words, accusing him of calling Trump supporters garbage.
He said, trying to seize on something President Biden said, says the football player reading the script. And Republicans are seizing on it. From the New York Times, Biden appears to insult Trump supporters as garbage, but quickly tries to clarify. Incredible. But when they covered Tony Hinchcliffe, here was the New York Times. A new insult reminds Puerto Ricans how Trump has treated them. You see how it works? From Politico, Marco Rubio says Biden called Trump supporters garbage. Wait, Rubio says it? Politico? We heard it. It's on tape. Another Politico article on this lied to its readers to protect Joe Biden. Biden, in a Zoom call with the organization Voto Latino, said the only garbage was the hatred of Trump supporters who said such things about American citizens. They actually misquoted him to make him look better. Then they got berated about it, and the publication then actually posted the truth, claiming it was updated to the correct version of the quote. Because at Politico, you got to update to the accurate version because the first version is whatever the White House wanted you to say. Good stuff. From Axios, President Biden handed ammo to gleeful Republicans Tuesday when he seemed to refer to former President Trump supporters as garbage. Handed them ammo. How much can you possibly vilify one side and protect another? The media knows no bounds. The cable news lefties were just as desperate.
Joe Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker. And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me that there's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there. He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters, not simply the supporters themselves.
Some on the right have seized that comment to mean his supporters, meaning Donald Trump supporters, meaning all Trump supporters, half the country, saying the president is calling them garbage. The White House is saying, no, there's an apostrophe there. He's talking about his supporter, meaning the comedian.
Try as they might, they can't conceal the president's own words, especially when it's right there for everybody to see. The White House trying to claim that there was an apostrophe, as Lemire there just claimed. There was an apostrophe in supporters, right? Biden was referring to Trump's supporters' hate as garbage, is the claim, rather than his supporters actually being garbage. That's pretty thin. This is what they think of you. This is it. I think you've known this for a while. I have. I live in Manhattan. Deplorable Nazi garbage. That's Trump and everybody that votes for him. And maybe it's actually time to wear that badge with pride, because it seems that if you're not deplorable Nazi garbage, that means you're voting for the idiot regime that has run this country for the past 4 years. And I suspect most people would rather be garbage. RNC Chair Michael Whatley joins us tonight. Sir, it's good to have you on. Trump in a garbage truck in Green Bay. How did they get that together so fast?
Well, that's what we do. You know, you got to be able to react and you got to be able to go fast. But I think, there's a couple things that we can talk about in this story.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of them you just mentioned, the fact that this just is a long, the latest example in a long litany of things that they have said about Donald Trump and about Republicans, from deplorables to Nazis to now garbage, that shows you the true extent of what they think about it. The more important message I think that we get out of this is the fact that this is Kamala Harris's closing argument. She can't talk about the economy. She can't talk about the southern border. She cannot talk about our standing in the world and our ability to protect our interests and our allies. All she could talk about is throwing names out about Donald Trump. Donald Trump came down the escalator 9 years ago and said, I'm going to make America great again by restoring our southern border, rebuilding our economy, and ensuring that we're strong enough to protect our interests at home and abroad. He then went out for 4 years as president and did exactly that, and now it needs to be done again. But that's his closing argument.
Yeah.
She has no closing argument, and she literally is calling him a Nazi.
Yeah.
She's literally saying, that everybody in America is garbage. This is what we get from Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
We get it from Tim Walz. We get it from Kamala Harris, and now we get it from Joe Biden. They really, truly have no closing argument for this election here.
Yeah, and again, we learned that. Last night you heard Kamala at the ellipse, and it's just they got nothing. I mean, this is it. And this story actually kind of feels that we've been long awaiting whatever the October surprise is. I think that this will be impactful because I think that this is going to motivate a lot of people, to actually maybe go out and vote. This will it's another reminder of what Washington actually thinks of the people in this country. Largely how they view the people in this country, especially the people that don't want to just give them a bigger government and more power. This is what they think of you. I want to talk a little bit about these lawsuits and the fight here for election integrity in this country. Pennsylvania it is the grand prize in this election, it certainly seems. And you guys won a big lawsuit today. Can you explain to us in the simplest of terms what exactly was going on in Bucks County and what happened today?
Yeah, so in Pennsylvania, they have a system for absentee ballots where you can actually vote an absentee ballot in person. And so they had set up the lines to be able to allow people to go stand in line, get a ballot, vote that ballot, and turn it in. The rules were, according to the Pennsylvania Secretary of the Commonwealth, that those offices had to be open until 5:30. And in Bucks County, they were shutting down that line early and telling people you cannot vote. They're telling people even if you're in line, you can't do it. That is against the express orders from the Secretary of the Commonwealth. So we filed a lawsuit saying you are violating Pennsylvania law. Very fortunately, today we had the court come back and say you are correct, and they ordered Bucks County to open up the line again to allow people to cast those in-person ballots all the way up through the 1st of November, which is really important because we want those people who took the time during the work week, during the work day, to go out there, stand in line, follow Pennsylvania law, follow the county rules, and then have to be turned away the way they were.
Interesting stuff. Chair of the RNC, Michael Whatley. Sir, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.